Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Enterprising Agent, where we help agents work smarter, not harder. This week, we are joined by a very special guest who's going to share some insight on how you can be a better advocate for your senior clients. Please welcome Michael Standard. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Stephanie. Glad to be here.
So, I always love starting our episodes, learning a little bit more about our guests. So, talk to me about where you fit into this wild world of real estate and a little bit about what brought you to this place.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So I was born and raised in Oregon, and Oregon is basically a lumber state and a lot of timber there. And all my family were in the logging industry. And growing up, that's what I wanted to do as well. I love the outdoors. And my mom and dad said, no, you're not doing that. So I went off to this big city of Portland to go to Oregon Health Sciences University and become a physician.
Oh,
And
okay.
I worked through school and part of med school working at the Sisters of Providence Hospital, where I had the illustrious job of doing autopsies for a living.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
a lot of fun, huh? But all my friends thought it was cool, right, at the time. And I worked in cancer research.
It makes for good stories, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I worked in cancer research too. And they all thought that was glamorous as well, but I really just cleaned the machinery.
Yeah.
So I went from there to become a stockbroker in the bank channel. And I loved it. I did very well at it. I was with Bank of America, and I learned with Wells Fargo. I was not good at politics. I moved on.
Okay.
But my favorite thing about the industry and being a stockbroker in those communities was I got to help a lot of seniors with their retirement, with their income.
Okay.
And my favorite part was when after we had done the trades and built a little bit of a relationship, they'd stop by the desk if I was there, and we sit down and chat and find out how to raise kids and where the best fishing holes at today and berry pies, how to fix those correctly. And that was a lot of fun. And that's where I found that was my passion in
Wonderful.
life, was helping seniors. Then I went off into the software industry and sold software to big insurance companies, played in the C-level a lot, and dealt with those folks. And as that industry continued to buy itself over and over again and shrink in size, I needed and wanted to go into something where I could run my own show, have my own company, and help seniors. And I could have become a stockbroker again, but I didn't have the passion for it anymore. So I had a couple of coaches who referred me on to their friends. And one of them was her brother-in-law, who used to do the old reverse mortgage.
Okay.
And I'm listening to him tell me about how it works. And being a financial advisor, I thought, this is one of the smartest tools I've ever heard of. Why can't we use this more? Because I would have clients walk in with their $40,000 401k rollover from retirement, and they own their home outright on the beach, which is worth $1 million, but their cash flow was horrible. Right? So, and back then there was no Airbnbs.
Right.
You're going to Airbnb that for the weekend. They make money. So I just saw this tool and thought, what a great opportunity. And so the rules changed in 2017. In fact, the entire loan was revamped.
Okay.
So the person who became head of HUD was Ben Carson. And Ben Carson was a presidential candidate, but he worked at HUD. Trump brought him in, and he made some really strategic changes to this. And I'll explain them to you why it was strategic. First, he kicked all the banks out. No banks are allowed to do these anymore. So it's only FHA. It's an FHA loan. He also forced insurance on it. So it makes it a non-recourse loan. Now, you're a real estate agent, so you're going to understand what a non-recourse loan means, which is very simply if the house ever goes upside down and you sell it when it's upside down, the government eats the loss, not the family member.
Right.
That's huge because in 2008 to 2012, when Abenomics hit the U.S., basically, it's caused a lot of bankruptcies on kids who had mom's house in California. It used to be worth $1 million. Now it's worth $350.
Right.
And she took out $500,000 worth of debt. So that kid filed a bankruptcy and walked away. So that was the first strategic change. Now it's an insured loan. No one loses. The other is it's now based on age. So it used to be you take out as 80%. Not anymore. It's 62 when you can do these in the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
At 62, you can only get about 40% of your equity.
Okay.
At 95, you can have about 75% of your equity. Okay. Why is that important? Well, because you're not going to go upside down.
Right.
And FHA is not going to have to bail you out with that insurance. So they're making money. FHA
Makes sense.
is.
Yeah.
The other key is, it's always been there, but the other key is they keep title to their home. The senior does, and they never have to make a payment unless they want to. Now they can make a payment if they want to, but they have no mortgage payment now. And what Ben Carson said was this: we want seniors to use their equity to age in place and not lose their home to Medicaid.
Yeah.
So when you get forced, if you're 65 or 70 and you're buying your last home, or your second to last home, and the realtor introduces you to the mortgage broker who doesn't know how to do these loans because they're very specialized, then you live in the house, you have a mortgage for 30 more years, right? Or 20 more years. And you're making those payments, and maybe your cash flow gets tight. Maybe you don't have enough money to repair the roof correctly. Maybe you run out of money, which is what most seniors do. Then the terrible statistic, Stephanie, is 7 out of 10 seniors go to a retirement center, nursing care.
Yeah.
5 of them lose their homes to Medicaid. Okay, because they had a mortgage partly, because there's no shelter. Okay. They owe the bank money. The kids have to sell it to pay for mom and dad's care. When they run out of money, let's say in that example, let's say they still had the home and mom was living in it, but dad was in the care home. When they run out of money, they go on Medicaid. When they go on Medicaid, Medicaid attaches the home and takes it when they die. The kids don't get it. So this is a really smart financial tool for seniors, and this is the loan that the majority of them should be using, because if you don't have long-term care insurance in place or $200,000 or more in assets, when you leave the hospital to go to rehab or to a nursing care facility, if you can't prove you have those 2 things, you get to sign your house over to Medicaid.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really important, and that's why they made the changes, because there's $12.48 trillion of equity in seniors' homes.
Wow.
And 5 out of 10 lose their homes.
That's wild.
Yep, that stinks, doesn't it? Here in Texas, only about 28% lose their homes, because we have the Lady Bird Trust and a few other odds and ends we can get around that with.
Yeah. And, knowing that this option is out there, I think of someone like my dad. My dad is just turned 76 in February. He's doing well. He's alive and kicking, even against my better judgment. He's he pushes himself. He goes out to his friend's cattle ranch and helps inoculate cows and bulls once a month, and not too shabby for a 76-year-old man, but realizing that the house that he's in right now, he bought 4 years ago because he was looking to downsize, and he might not be this active forever, and who knows what options we may have to look into. So, if we have maybe an agent who's listening to this, or someone like me who is an agent, but also has a family member that, we're thinking ahead, or is currently in some sort of situation where we don't know what to do, what sort of questions should that homeowner be asking, or the family members or power of attorney for that homeowner be asking before they decide, is this a good option? And am I going with the right person?
Sure. Well, that's a good, let me start with the right person there. Do you know that there's a difference between a retail mortgage person and a wholesale mortgage person?
Yes, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Right. I'm wholesale. So that means I have the least amount of fees and give the most amount of money to my clients, because I don't have 25 staff members to pay. I use the lender's staff. Okay, they process our
Okay.
loans for us. So we go directly to the lender. They process the loan. I eat the fee. I don't pass it
Hmm.
on to my clients. But FHA also sets everything behind the scenes. There's no
Of
monkey in
course.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the question you want to ask. And it's a really important question. I asked my in-laws this question too. And then I made a statement to my in-laws, but I'll tell you what I asked. I said,
Okay.
isn't that lawn just getting too big for you? I mean, you got a new tractor, but every time you do it, your wife says, my mother-in-law says,
Hmm.
boy, he has to sit down for like a half a day to recover from it. He's
Right.
in his 80s. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's mowing a half of an acre,
Mm.
weeding the lawn, and staying busy, which is good for him.
Of course. Yeah.
And they do have a single level house, but I ask those questions. This is questions you should ask is the house getting too big? How about the maintenance on the house? Do you feel comfortable and safe? I can tell you where they live now.
Mm.
Used to be a nice neighborhood. It is not anymore. These are the
Hmm.
$400,000, $500,000 homes. They're not the $1 million homes in the gated community.
Right.
So ask that question, and how you can ask your friends the same question. How are your parents doing?
Yeah.
Do they like the house? Is the house comfortable for them? Are they going to be able to age in place? And what that means is this: do they have that grab bars? Right? Do they have the things that help them get around? Because eventually they are going to start tottering and they will fall.
Yeah.
And are they in a place that's safe for that? Is it set up correctly? And we had the in-laws here, and they live in Oregon, and I'm in actually Mansfield, Texas, here in Dallas Fort
Hmm.
Worth, and we had them come down for a birthday party, and then we took them to 255 and over communities,
Okay.
and my mother-in-law was in heaven.
I bet.
The lights were great, everything was perfect. She could put her painting studio in that room. He could put his
Mm.
guitars in that room away from her, and and it's clean, it's uncluttered, it's done up nice, it's not beat up by the grandkids, right?
Right.
And she was in heaven. And he looked at me and said, I'm too tired to move. And I
Mm.
said, write a check. Just write a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the scary part is if they stay where they're at, if your dad stays where he's at, when he does fall, when something does happen, there's a lot of mess that's going to take place. And
Yeah.
we don't want to clean up their mess. We want them to plan ahead. We want to give them
Yeah.
good advice and direct them in the right direction. Now, this loan isn't for everybody, but what if you are living on a fixed income and your budget's set? What if
Yeah.
like a lot of people, they do have some wherewithal, but that's taxable. So you start
Hmm.
pulling out a brokerage, you're going to start paying extra in taxes. That's no fun. So yeah, we need to research this. We need to help our parents and our friends' parents research this because it's really simple. You go to hud.gov, HUD.gov, and you search the word in the toolbar HECM, HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. That pulls up how it works, walks you through all the laws, all the loopholes. And once you see that, and I send all my clients there who have a computer. Now, some of my clients don't have computers. They call me back the next day. We usually have an appointment scheduled the next day, and they say, this sounds too good to be true, Michael.
Mm.
I said, it's not. It's a fact. Did you read it? They said, yep. I said, well, it's not too good to be true. Remember, FHA and the government do not want you to go on Medicaid. Because when you go on Medicaid, look at it from a realtor standpoint, they go on Medicaid, HUD gets the house. HUD sells it at auction. There's no realtors involved.
Right.
And it goes for pennies on the dollar because I bid on those houses.
I've had clients who do as well. And yeah,
$100,000
a song and a
under,
dance.
right? It goes $100,000 under. So FHA would rather have the home go to the children and the children go sell it at market through a realtor who can get it appropriately priced. And that way FHA is not going to lose money. And the
Right.
state and the government is not going to lose money. So it's really important because once you have this HECM wrapper, home equity conversion mortgage wrapper over the home, then it by law has to go to the heirs, kids, whoever, right? The heirs have 12 months to sell the home or refinance and keep it.
Okay.
You just have to pay off the lien. FHA lien, and the rates for FHA loans are about 1% to 0.5% lower than regular traditional loans.
Mm,
So it's advantageous, but now the kids keep all the equity.
right.
Well, if you go into a 30-year mortgage at 70 years of age and you fall and break your hip or get sick or run out of money because you did get sick,
Right.
and then that slippery slope, then Medicaid leaves you $118 a month from your Social Security check.
Mm.
That's what you
And I
get.
don't know what you're going to do with that. I can't buy half a week's of groceries for $118 in today's day and age. So
Yeah. A lot of my clients say, well, I'll get my hair done. So
uh,
we really have to remember a couple of these points I've walked you through. Medicaid will take your house. Okay. Old age will leave you with nothing unless you planned very well, because
right.
there's a lot of expenses. I mean, my dad, $120,000 in medical bills over and above what Medicare covered for his triple bypass.
Mm,
He has a very large lien on his home because he can't
I
pay it
bet.
out of his fixed
No.
income, right? So it's important that they know that they keep title to their home, their kids inherit the home, and they also don't have mortgage payments unless they want to make them. Okay. And if a simple home appreciates over time, it will outpace the loan amount. So
Yeah.
the kids will have, I mean, I can show you example after example. There's usually 40 to 60% equity left in the home, which is more than there would have been if they would have had a regular mortgage and ran out of money,
Right. Correct.
because the home goes to the state. So that's kind of my spiel on how it's changed. They made it so much safer, so much easier to use. But Stephanie, a lot of people still believe in Sasquatch, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, like I love that you mentioned that client who said, it's too good to be true. What's the catch? And I think we're always a little dubious of, okay, what's the catch? But I love that this, if anything, just presents another option.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of puts that control back into that homeowner. It gives them a little bit of say into, what happens, because, as our family members and as we get older, sometimes it feels like there is less and less say than, what we have. My
Yeah,
father-in-law is currently in a assisted living facility, and they take very good care of him, but he is kind of at the mercy of what that facility can offer and the cost. And you fall in, like you said, you fall and break a hip. It's, this is how I'm going to have to slow down, or how my life adjusts. And so sometimes I think for our family members that are aging, it feels like life is happening to them. And so when we can give them something that goes, hey, here's a way that you can maintain this um, financial headway
right.
into what this looks like, and it gives you options for when life is just kind of thrown at you, or when life
Yeah,
happens to you, that you have the safety net in place. And I think that that's the wonderful thing, is that it's one less thing that they are, kind of at the mercy of.
yeah.
They know they can, something that they can depend on.
I work with a lot of in-home care providers because I help them when their client doesn't have long-term care insurance or does not have a lot of cash available to pay for in-home
Hmm.
care, because 88% of seniors, heck, even me, I want to age in place.
Hmm.
I want to stay in my own home until I croak.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
want to
stubborn.
be
I don't want to go anywhere either.
I don't want to be in a care center. Those are yuck. So,
Yeah.
and why would we want to do that to our parents? Well, because a lot of them, it's easy. So if they live in their own home and they have enough equity, the HECM could work for them to have the resource to use the equity out to pay for their in-home care. That's what this thing was designed for. That's why they
Hmm.
changed it. Well, from your side as a realtor or realtor, you have to realize that the majority of the homes today in the $300,000 to $500,000 range, or $275,000 to $500,000 range, are owned by seniors who don't want to move because they
Right.
think they'll have to have a mortgage. That's it.
Yeah.
I poll them all the time. Well, why don't you want to move? Well, because I can't afford a mortgage. I live on Social Security and a little pension,
Hmm.
and we have a small brokerage account. Yeah, you're right. You can't, can you? But did you know that the home equity conversion mortgage will allow you to qualify for a new home, that you can pick out your lights, your colors, your drawer pools, and everything, and make it the way you want to. And it's going to be safer, and it's going to be set up for you, now, not your kids, for you. And then
Right.
it's going to have more equity in the end because it's going to be in a nicer community. It's going to have nicer things. It'll sell for more for your kids. They'll have more equity to use. Well, Michael, that doesn't make sense. I said, no, it does make sense. You put 55 to 60% down from your old home. When you sell it, you keep the rest in the bank. It's yours to keep. Okay. That's tax-free, in fact. And then you buy this new home with a HECM loan, home equity conversion mortgage loan. You don't have a payment for life. You can sell it anytime you want with no penalty, and your kids get the house. There's no catch.
Yeah.
There's no catch.
That's amazing. That the fact that and the fact that there is those safety nets in there now to make sure that what we're propositioning and what they're looking forward to is something that is actually going to be there at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
if one of our listeners, one of our real estate agent listeners has questions or maybe has a client or, like I said, a family member who they suspect this might be a really good option for them. I know you're here in Texas. Do you only work in the Great Lone Star State? And if so, do you have partners across the U.S. for our agents who are outside of Texas?
So I do. So I own HERO Loans, which stands for Home Equity Retirement Option Loans LLC. And I'm licensed in Oregon and Washington and Texas. Other states are coming too, as I find more partners who want to become
Wonderful.
who want to come on wholesale as a wholesale lender. And we have a lot of ads, but the easiest way for them to get a hold of me is my office number is 817-809-2776, or they can get me at Michael at HEROLoansLLC.com. Or they can call me on my old phone number, which I pick up often, 360-690-5278.
Wonderful.
So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Or you can ping me
Perfect.
on Facebook. We're running a lot of Facebook ads for downsizing. And we're actually getting a lot of hits. Not from the senior, it's from the kids.
Yeah, because we are managing these opportunities or managing these questions. We are often managing our parents' care. My husband is power of attorney for my father-in-law. Just for, not that he is mentally or physically incapable, but he's at a stage where it makes sense for someone who has the time and the energy to look into this and can look forward a little bit to have some of that control. So, it doesn't surprise me that it's often the kids or the family members versus the actual homeowners or senior clients that are reaching out to you, because it just makes sense to have someone who can, kind of take a little bit of a step back, take some of the emotion out of it and look at it in a black and white on a factual. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look if we do this, if we don't do this, and present those options.
Yep.
So is it HERO Loans on Facebook as well?
Yes, it is. Yep. HERO Loans
Beautiful.
LLC. And the other thing I just want to close with, I appreciate your time so much, but I want to close with a quick story. I'll tell you a story about two EXP agents I've worked with. So one he was a pastor, and he had retired, and he had some dear friends who were in his church who had gotten scammed out of $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
And so they had to go get a mortgage, HELOC. Actually, they had to do a cash out refinance. Smart, huh?
Okay.
They didn't talk with me back then.
Yeah.
And so they had to do that. They had payments and they weren't surviving. It just was too much. Couldn't take care of the house. Because when you're making a mortgage payment and you only make $1,900 a month and you have a $700 mortgage payment plus, right? There's not a lot of money left over. So we referred them to me, and I sat down and talked with them. And basically they said, well, our option we're looking into is, our friend referred us to you. We want to talk with you about this. But our other option is we're going to sell the house and move into an apartment. We found one for $1,100 a month. And I said, okay, how long will that money last?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, we think about 3 years if there's no medical expenses, right?
That's nothing.
Yeah. So we did the HECM purchase for them. There was a nice lady who gave them a discount on the purchase of the new home. They sold their old home. And he calls me on occasion, the gentleman who did the loan, and says, hey, Michael, should I make a mortgage payment or not? And joking. And he's joking with you. Said, Mr. Fox, you don't have to make a mortgage payment. You can if you want to. Here's the phone number. Call them. But that was one. And then we were doing another one. Another EXP agent sent me a client of theirs. She needed to downsize as well because her son, who she'd been the caretaker for years, she couldn't do it anymore. She was just getting too weak and frail.
Yeah.
And so the realtor was looking for a home that she could afford, price-wise, even with the HECM purchase, because she didn't have a lot of money to put down. So he said, well, heck, we can't find her a home that's going to work for her and her price point. So we just did the HECM on her existing home. Okay. So now she has a huge line of credit that she's using to supplement her income because, her son left and his little bit of Social Security income left with him. So I love EXP agents. They take care of their clients. And I just want to present this idea that should open everyone's mind to how safe this product is. And the purpose is to make sure that your parents can age in place and have in-home care or take care of themselves without having a mortgage payment or being stuck in a house because they can't afford a mortgage payment.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. Because they went down to the bank and the bank said no. Right?
Yeah. And the last thing we want is anybody feeling stuck in a situation when there's options. And that's why I was excited to have you on, is just being able to go that there are options out there. There's options worth exploring, and knowing that just the traditional, well, let's sell this house, let's find something else, let's see if you qualify, let's figure out how this diminishing income in relation to our inflation rate, how does the math, and this just presents one other opportunity to go, hey, we don't have to just do this narrow focus of let's sell, let's downsize and hope that it works out in the long run.
That's right, Stephanie. And with real inflation at 17.8% and 7 out of 10 seniors going to assisted living and 5 of them losing their homes, we should be asking these questions to our friends about their parents, asking our parents, hey, what are you going to do? We'd really like you to move into something smaller that you can maintain, or move in with us. Let's do an ADU in the back, right? Something to help, because that wealth will be lost to the state. And that's a sad thing. And we have the answers now. We're educated now. We should know what to do. And this is the only loan I do. I think when I started, I did maybe 4 traditional loans, but this is all I do because I find it very satisfying to help. And I think it's the best thing for seniors to have, even if they're uber wealthy. And I have clients who are uber wealthy. I did one. He had two condominiums in 2 different states, both worth $5 million a piece.
Wow.
He just wanted to set aside money through the escrow account, which allows him to pay his property taxes, which were $28,000 a year.
I believe it.
Because he was depleting his cash. So, you don't have to be poor to do this. Wealthy people do this too. No. And if you're smart, you see this. This is tax-free money. Yeah. This is tax-free money you get to use. And it's debt equity that's sitting in your house, kind of like a bad employee, not doing anything. So put them to work.
Dead weight.
Pursue this. Yeah. Check it out. Look up the website. Give me a call. I love to help people understand this. And the best part is, I can't sell it to them. They can't have it if they want it. They have to go through HECM counseling with an FHA advisor to counsel them, make sure they know what they're doing, that they're not getting pushed, and that they don't have dementia or other medical issues that would knock them out of loan. So it makes it very safe, because if they can't qualify, I'm sorry, I can't help them.
Right. And, there is power in having information. And I love that you're willing to share this information. Again, not only for our realtors who are listening in, but the folks who may be in a situation where this directly applies. Well, I'll be putting all of your contact information in the show notes. So if you want to reach out to Michael, take a look at the notes. He'll have his phone number, email address, link to the Facebook page. Michael Sander, thanks so much for joining us today on The Enterprising Agent.
You bet. You're the best. Have a great one.
You too.